Tonight's story is pure chaos, and remember, this is a fictional, entertainment-style dramatization. But trust me, if this played out in real life, the internet would never recover. Because according to our wild behind-the-scenes sources in this imagined reality, Cardi B has officially reached her breaking point, and Offset? Well, he might have just lit the match that set the entire Belcalis universe on fire. Picture this, Cardi B is in the middle of what was supposed to be a calm, private moment, her glam team touching up her makeup, her phone buzzing non-stop with notifications, when suddenly, a viral clip drops. In this fictional drama, Offset appears on a live stream, casually hinting that he might be responsible for a mysterious fourth child situation. And the moment Cardi sees it, everything changes. According to insiders in our wild reality TV-inspired world, Cardi slams her phone down, storms out of the room, and shouts, "What does he mean he might be responsible?" Fans are shocked, emotions run high, and the entire family is supposedly left scrambling for answers. And that's where our story begins. The moment Cardi stormed out of that room in our imagined storyline, the entire atmosphere shifted like a sudden drop in temperature before a thunderstorm. Everyone around her froze, makeup brushes mid-air, assistants clutching phones, eyes darting at each other because they all knew what it meant when Cardi B went silent first and then exploded second. It meant the drama wasn't just brewing, it was already overflowing. And in this fictional world we're diving into, emotions were running high, fans online were spiraling into chaotic discussions, and even people who had nothing to do with the situation suddenly claimed they knew this was coming. Cardi marched down the hallway of her home, her heels clicking like angry exclamation points with every step. Her phone kept buzzing with notifications, but she refused to look again. She didn't need to watch the clip twice. The moment the words left Offset's mouth in that viral livestream, Cardi felt something snap inside her. And it wasn't just annoyance. No, it was the disrespect, the confusion, the sheer audacity of him saying he might be responsible for some mysterious fourth child situation, like he was casually confessing to misplacing his car keys. In this made-up scenario, her cousin Marlene, who had been staying at the house for a few days, peeked out of the living room as Cardi approached. "Girl, what happened?" Marlene asked cautiously, as if Cardi were a ticking bomb that could go off at any second. Cardi took a deep breath, then another, but it wasn't helping. "What happened?" she repeated, her voice trembling with disbelief. "What happened is that Offset went on live, talking about some maybe I'm responsible for a fourth baby nonsense. He really got me messed up today." Marlene's eyes widened. "Wait, what?" He said what? Cardi nodded, pacing back and forth now, hands on her hips. "Yes. Talking reckless. Making it sound like he got some secret storyline happening behind my back. And now everybody online acting like they need to play detective, trying to guess what he meant. Talking about, did Cardi hide a pregnancy? Did Offset have another baby somewhere? Is there a surprise announcement coming?" Marlene shook her head. "Lord, you know the fans already Wilden. And Wilden they were." In this fictional universe, social media was a battlefield. Fan pages were posting screenshots, gossip accounts were spinning theories, and everyone had something to say. Some blamed Offset. Some blamed Cardi. Some blamed aliens and astrology and the retrograde happening that month. It was chaos. Cardi walked toward the sliding glass door that led to the backyard and pushed it open, letting the warm air hit her face. She needed a moment. She needed air. She needed answers. But above all, she needed to understand what possessed Offset to open his mouth and start this fire. Just then, her phone buzzed again, and she finally glanced at it. It was a text from her manager in this fictional storyline. "We need to talk. Call me ASAP." And that's when Cardi knew it was getting serious. When the manager got involved, it meant the situation wasn't just trending, it was exploding. She dialed immediately, and the manager answered on the first ring. "Cardi, please tell me you didn't go online yet," he said, sounding stressed. "Why would I go online? I'm still trying to figure out if I even heard him correctly," Cardi snapped, pacing once more. Oh, you heard him correctly, the manager said with a heavy sigh. And the clip is everywhere now. We're trying to do damage control, but people are going crazy with theories. Some think he was joking, some think he's serious, and some think this is a setup for some sort of reveal. Cardi rolled her eyes so hard it almost hurt. A reveal? What's there to reveal? I don't have another baby. I'm not hiding anything. I'm not doing no secret storyline. I know, the manager said, but the internet doesn't care about facts. They care about drama. Cardi sat down in one of the patio chairs, her anger simmering into frustration. So what do I do? Because the way I'm feeling right now, I want to call Offset and ask him if he's lost his mind. I think you should talk to him, the manager agreed, but maybe wait for a minute. You're heated. He's probably clueless that what he said is blowing up. Talk to him when you can actually have a conversation, not a screaming match. Cardi didn't respond, because deep down she knew a screaming match was exactly what was coming. The call ended, and Cardi just sat there, tapping her nails against the table. Marlene stepped outside and sat beside her. You okay? She asked. No, Cardi whispered. I'm really not. Marlene hesitated. You think maybe he was just trying to be funny? If that was his idea of funny, Cardi said sharply, then he needs new material. Because this ain't a joke. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Only the distant sound of cars driving by could be heard. The world outside was peaceful, but inside Cardi's mind, everything was spinning. Then Marlene asked something that made Cardi freeze. Wait, when he said he might be responsible, you think he meant like, something from before? Like before y'all got back together last time? Cardi blinked. I don't know. I honestly don't know. And that's the scary part. I don't know what he meant. And now the world thinks they deserve an explanation before I even get one. That was the moment Cardi realized she needed to talk to Offset immediately. She couldn't wait for calm. She couldn't wait for understanding. She needed clarity before the situation got any worse. She grabbed her phone and typed out a message. We need to talk. Now. No emojis. No extra words. Just raw seriousness. And she waited. Seconds felt like minutes. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, the three little dots appeared on her screen. Typing. 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 Then they disappeared. Cardi stared at the screen, her frustration growing. Typing again. Then the message came through. I'm on my way home. That was it. No explanation. No apology. Just a simple statement. Marlene leaned over Cardi's shoulder and read it. He better have something real good to say. He better, Cardi agreed, standing up again. Because I'm not playing today. As Cardi walked back inside, the tension in the air was thick enough to slice through. The house wasn't just quiet. It was waiting. Waiting for the moment Offset stepped through the door. Waiting for the explosion that everyone knew was coming. In the fictional world of our dramatic story, fans online were already saying things like, Cardi is gonna go off when he gets home, and Offset better come with a PowerPoint presentation and a lawyer. Some joked, some panicked, some stirred the pot just to see the chaos grow. And inside that home, Cardi stood at the bottom of the staircase, arms crossed, jaw clenched, ready for the confrontation. Because whatever Offset meant with that might be responsible comment, she was about to find out. And nothing in the house felt steady anymore. Not the walls. Not the air. Not even her heartbeat. Everything felt like the start of something much bigger, and much messier. And that is exactly where everything exploded when Offset finally walked through the door. The front door creaked open slowly, almost too slowly, as if even the hinges were nervous about the storm waiting inside. Offset stepped into the foyer, looking around cautiously, his shoulders tense, his expression unreadable. Cardi stood completely still, arms crossed, eyes fixed on him like she was trying to see straight through his soul. Even the air felt like it held its breath. So, Cardi said quietly, which was somehow scarier than if she had screamed. You want to tell me what that was? Offset swallowed hard, dropping his keys onto the console table. I knew you'd see that clip, he muttered. Of course I saw it, Cardi shot back. The whole internet saw it. You went on live talking about being responsible for some fourth child situation. What does that even mean? Offset ran a hand over his face, clearly stressed. Look, it came out wrong. I wasn't trying to start nothing. It was supposed to be a joke. Cardi stepped forward. A joke? You think that was funny? You think going online and making it sound like there's some secret baby story is funny? I didn't say baby, Offset said quickly. I just said. Exactly, Cardi cut him off, voice rising. You said I might be responsible for her fourth child situation, and now the entire world is trying to interpret that. Do you know how that makes me look? Offset sighed heavily. I didn't mean it like that. Marlene, watching from the hallway like she was witnessing a live soap opera, mouthed Lord have mercy, but stayed quiet. Even she knew this was not the moment to jump in. Cardi's frustration was boiling over. So explain it then. Explain what you meant. Because I honestly can't figure it out. Were you trying to say you think I'm pregnant? Were you trying to say you got somebody else pregnant? Or were you just speaking for no reason? Which one? Offset held his hands up defensively. None of that. Cardi, you know how the comments be when I go live. They kept asking me about y'all having more kids, they kept spamming it, and I just said something slick. I wasn't thinking. Cardi stared at him, her face unreadable, and that silence scared him more than her yelling. So you were trying to be slick? She asked slowly. And now I'm the one dealing with the consequences? I didn't think it would blow up like that, he muttered. Cardi laughed, one of those disbelieving laughs that had no humor in it. You didn't think it would blow up. Offset, anything you say online blows up. You know that. You've been famous long enough to know better. Offset stepped closer, lowering his voice. I know. And I messed up. But I swear, there's no secret baby, no scandal, nothing like that. I was just talking without thinking. But Cardi wasn't letting go that easily. So what exactly were you trying to say? Give me the exact sentence as it sounded in your head before you opened your mouth. Offset rubbed his forehead. I was trying to say that if you ever wanted a fourth kid, I'd be ready. I didn't mean responsible like, responsible for something happening now. Cardi blinked. That's what you were trying to say? That you'd be ready for another child? Yeah, he said quietly. Then why didn't you just say that? Cardi nearly shouted. Why would you phrase it like some mysterious confession? You made it sound like something is already happening, like I'm keeping a secret or you're hiding something. You know how people twist words. Offset lowered his gaze. I know. I know I messed up. I wasn't thinking straight. I was just talking. But Cardi wasn't finished. Not even close. You being careless with your words has consequences, she said sharply. People are already making assumptions about me, about my body, about my relationship, about our family. And now people are asking me if I'm hiding something from them. Strangers. People I don't even know. There was a long pause before Offset finally said, I'm sorry. But Cardi shook her head. It's not just about being sorry. It's about why you keep doing this. Every time things get calm, something happens. You say something, you post something, you do something that turns into a whole drama. Why? Offset didn't answer immediately. His silence said more than words could. Meanwhile, online in this fictional world, chaos continued. Fan pages were posting slow-motion edits of the livestream. Conspiracy theories had already taken root. Some people insisted Cardi was expecting. Others claimed Offset was hinting at an affair. Others suggested this was a setup for a future announcement. Nobody knew the truth, but that never stopped the internet from acting like it did. Cardi's phone kept vibrating on the table behind her, but she didn't turn around. She didn't want to see another notification, another headline, another message from someone asking if she needed to clear the air. Instead, she looked straight at Offset. "I just need to know one thing," she said, voice steady now. "Is there anything going on that I should know about?" Offset's head snapped up. "No, Cardi, I swear. Nothing. Zero. There's no other woman, no baby, nothing shady happening. I messed up with my words, but I'm not hiding anything from you." Cardi held his gaze for several seconds, studying him, searching for truth. Offset didn't look away. "Then why didn't you call me immediately after?" she asked quietly. "If you knew the clip was out there, if you knew people were talking, why didn't you call me first?" Offset exhaled slowly. "Because I panicked. I saw the comments blowing up, I saw people screen recording the live, and I froze. I thought maybe if I waited, it would die down." Cardi let out a sharp breath. "Why would you ever think that? Nothing ever dies down with us. You know that better than anyone." He knew she was right. Just then, Marlene's phone buzzed and she checked it, gasping. "Oh my God, there's already a hashtag trending." Cardi glared. "Don't tell me what it is." "You're gonna find out anyway," Marlene said apologetically. "It's literally everywhere. They're calling it baby number 4 gate." Cardi closed her eyes and pinched the bridge of her nose. "Great. Amazing. Just what I needed." Offset winced slightly. "I'm really sorry, Cardi." She looked at him for a long moment before saying, "Sorry doesn't undo the damage." Offset opened his mouth to respond, but Cardi held up a hand. "I'm not done talking." She started pacing again, letting out all the thoughts swirling inside her. "Do you know how stressful it is to have every little thing we do dissected online? To have people acting like they own updates on our lives? And now this? You gave them fuel. You gave them a whole storyline." "I didn't mean to," Offset repeated softly. "Intent doesn't erase impact," Cardi said. "This affects me. It affects our kids. It affects the whole family. My mom called me asking if I was pregnant. My mom. She almost had a heart attack." Offset looked genuinely pained. "Damn, I didn't know it went that far." "Of course it did," Cardi snapped. "Because everything we do goes far. And that's why you have to be careful." The room was buzzing with tension, thick enough to choke on, when suddenly Cardi's phone rang. It was her father in this fictional story. She stared at the screen in disbelief. "See," she said, holding the phone up. "Now my dad is calling." "My dad?" Offset rubbed his temples. "I really messed up." Cardi didn't answer. She just stared at him like she didn't recognize the man standing in front of her. Then, in a quiet voice that made the whole atmosphere shift again, she said, "There's something else bothering me. Something I haven't said yet." Offset looked up slowly. "What is it?" Cardi hesitated, her voice low, almost vulnerable. "The way you said it, I don't know. It didn't sound like a harmless joke. It sounded like you were thinking about something. Like something was on your mind." Offset frowned. "What do you mean?" Cardi took a breath. "Is there something you've been wanting to tell me? Something you've been worried about? Something you're scared to say out loud?" And in that moment, something flickered in Offset's expression. Something she didn't recognize. Something that made her heart drop. And when he finally looked away instead of answering immediately, that was when she realized the situation might be much bigger than she thought. The second Offset looked away, something inside Cardi shifted. It wasn't anger this time. It was fear. A small, cold knot in her chest that tightened with every passing second. Cardi felt her hands tremble slightly, though she hid them by crossing her arms again. She had been through enough ups and downs in this relationship to sense when something wasn't being said, and the silence right now was loud. Too loud. "Why aren't you answering me?" Cardi finally whispered, the sharpness in her voice replaced with something softer, more fragile. Marlene, who had been pretending to scroll through her phone to avoid intruding, froze mid-swipe and slowly looked up. Even she could feel the shift in tone. Offset ran his tongue across his teeth, exhaling slowly as if he were preparing himself. It's not, okay, it's not what you think, he said, but he still refused to look her in the eyes. Cardi's heart dropped even lower. Then what is it? She asked. What could possibly make you hesitate like this? What are you not telling me? Offset rubbed his hands together, pacing once before finally forcing himself to meet her gaze. I didn't want to bring this up yet. Not until I was sure. Sure of what? Cardi demanded. Stop talking in circles and just say it. Offset swallowed again, the tension radiating from him. All right. Look, you remember a few months back? When things were crazy, we were arguing a lot, and you said you needed space? Cardi blinked. Yeah. What about it? I was stressed, Offset began. Really stressed. And I wasn't in the best headspace. I was traveling, working late, dealing with people pulling me in every direction. And something happened during that time. The air froze. Cardi didn't move. Didn't blink. Didn't breathe. Marlene's eyes widened like she was watching the season finale of the most intense reality show on earth. Oh Lord, she whispered under her breath. Something happened, Cardi repeated, each word slow, careful, as if she were afraid they might explode in her hands. Offset held up his hands immediately. Not like that. I didn't sleep with nobody. I swear on everything. He stepped forward, urgency in his voice now. I didn't cheat. I didn't hook up with nobody. No inappropriate texts, no inappropriate links, nothing like that. I promise. Cardi's shoulders relaxed a fraction, but only a fraction. Then what happened? Offset hesitated again. Offset, Cardi snapped. Stop dragging it out and talk. He closed his eyes briefly. All right. I went to this charity event. There were a lot of kids there, families, fans, and one woman came up to me with a little boy. She said he was a huge fan of mine. The kid hugged me, took a picture, all that. Nothing weird. But after I left, rumors started spreading online that the kid looked like me. Cardi frowned. Okay, so? That happens all the time. People been saying random kids look like you since forever. I know, Offset said, but this time it picked up traction. Some blogs started digging into the woman's page, trying to find out who the father was. And she didn't help because she kept posting cryptic captions like, "Truth always comes out and one day the truth will be revealed." Marlene put a hand over her mouth. Girl. Cardi shot her a look and Marlene immediately shut up. So what does that have to do with your livestream? Cardi asked, trying to stay calm. Offset sighed. Because last week, the woman reached out to my team. The silence exploded. Marlene let out a tiny gasp. Cardi froze. She reached out, Cardi repeated softly. Yeah, Offset said. She said she wanted to talk. She said the boy has been asking questions. She said she wanted to clear the air before things went any further. Cardi's jaw tightened. So she thinks the kid is yours. She doesn't know, Offset corrected. She said she's not sure. She kept saying it was complicated. She just wanted to talk. And I didn't know how to tell you because I knew you'd freak out. Cardi stepped back like she'd been slapped. You think I'd freak out? Of course I'd freak out, Offset. What else am I supposed to do when some random woman comes out of nowhere saying her kid might be yours? He's not mine, Offset said quickly. I'm almost positive. I don't know this woman. I've never met her before that event. But you're not sure, Cardi said. That's the problem. You're not sure. Offset ran both hands over his face. That's why I hesitated when you asked me earlier. Because I don't know what she wants. I don't know if she's lying, I don't know if she's been pushed by other people, I don't know anything yet. My team told her we needed time to talk before doing anything. But then in the live, I don't know, the comments had me thinking about it. I got caught up in the moment and you blurted it out, Cardi finished for him. Offset nodded reluctantly. Yeah. I messed up. Bad. Cardi didn't speak. She just stared at him, her eyes narrowing as she tried to piece everything together. For a long moment, the only sound in the room was Cardi's slow breathing. So let me get this straight, she finally said. You spoke to your team about this woman. You knew this rumor was floating around. You knew she reached out. And instead of telling me, you went online and said something that made it sound like there really might be something going on? I didn't mean to, Offset insisted. I didn't even think about the connection until after I said it. You didn't think, Cardi echoed. That's the problem. Every time you don't think, I end up in the middle of a mess I didn't ask for. Offset stepped closer. I wasn't trying to hide it from you. I just didn't want to stress you out until I had more answers. You think I'm not stressed now? Cardi snapped. You think finding out this way is better? He looked down, unable to argue. Marlene slowly backed out of the room, sensing this was getting too heavy even for her. I'm gonna, go check the kitchen, she murmured as she disappeared. Now it was just Cardi and Offset. So what do we do now? Cardi asked, her voice suddenly small. Offset exhaled. My team suggested we get a test. Not because I think the kid is mine, but because the woman won't stop pushing. And I don't want this turning into a bigger scandal. Cardi closed her eyes. A test. Wow. I know, Offset said. But I just want this handled. Cardi shook her head slowly. And you didn't tell me. You waited until the internet dragged me into this mess. Again. Offset moved closer, reaching for her hand, but Cardi pulled away. Don't. He froze. Cardi, come on, he whispered. I'm trying to fix this. Fix it? Cardi said, her voice trembling now. Offset, everything you're telling me is making it worse. You should have told me days ago. I shouldn't be hearing this after the whole world is already speculating about me. Offset clenched his jaw. I know I messed up. But I swear, I didn't cheat. I would never disrespect you like that again. Cardi stared at him, searching his face again. So this is what you were thinking about when you hesitated earlier? Offset nodded. Yeah. I was scared you'd think I was hiding something. And I guess, I was. But not for the wrong reasons. Cardi didn't respond. Her thoughts spun wildly like a tornado in her chest. She imagined the internet finding out about this woman. She imagined more rumors, more headlines, more speculation. She imagined her kids growing up and hearing about this nonsense. She imagined her entire family losing their minds over it. Fans were already saying she was pregnant. Now imagine what they'd say when they heard about this. Her stress spiked just thinking about it. I need a minute, Cardi whispered. Offset nodded. Take whatever time you need. Cardi walked away slowly, her mind overwhelmed, her heart heavy. But just as she turned the corner to head upstairs, her phone lit up again. A message from an unknown number. She picked it up hesitantly and read it. We need to talk. It's about my son. You know what this is about. Cardi's blood ran cold. The woman had texted her directly. And suddenly, everything got 10 times more complicated. Cardi stared at the message on her screen, her heart hammering so loud she could hear it in her ears. The text felt unreal, like it had slipped straight out of some nightmare she didn't remember falling into. We need to talk. It's about my son. You know what this is about. She read the message 3 times, each time hoping the words would change, soften, disappear. But they didn't. They stayed right there, bold and cold. Offset saw the look on her face before he saw the phone. What happened? He asked, stepping forward. Cardi held the screen up. She texted me. Offset froze. How did she get your number? I don't know, Cardi said, panic creeping into her voice. I don't know how she got it. I don't know what she wants. I don't know what this means. But she's texting me like I already know the whole situation. Offset moved closer, jaw clenching. Let me see, he reached for the phone, but Cardi pulled it back, eyes flashing. No, she snapped. I'm not giving you the phone. I don't even know what's happening right now. I need a second. Offset backed off, raising his hands in surrender. He wasn't angry. He looked scared. What are you gonna do? He asked carefully. Cardi didn't answer. She just stared at the message again. Her mind raced. Why would this woman contact her directly? What did she want? Why now? And why word it like that, like Cardi was already supposed to understand the situation? Slowly, Cardi typed back. Who is this? She hit send. The typing bubbles appeared almost immediately. Then the reply came. You know who I am. Cardi nearly dropped the phone. Oh hell no, Marlene said from behind her, making Cardi jump. I'm sorry, but this is too creepy. Who texts like that? She's acting like she's in a horror movie. Marlene, please, Cardi whispered, holding a hand against her forehead. I can't deal with jokes right now. Marlene immediately softened. Okay. My bad. But seriously, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna block her? Cardi shook her head. If I block her, she's gonna take it to the blogs. Or she's gonna say I'm ignoring her. Or she's gonna twist the story. I need to know what she wants. Offset finally spoke again. Let me talk to her. No, Cardi said sharply. Cardi. I said no, you already held information from me. You already let this get out of control. I'm not handing you another part of this mess. Offset didn't argue. He simply nodded. The phone buzzed again. I'm not trying to start drama. I just believe you have a right to know the truth before things get public. Cardi covered her mouth with her hand. Public? Oh my god, she's threatening to go public. Offset stepped forward, stress etched across his face. This is exactly what I didn't want to happen. You think I wanted it? Cardi snapped. For a moment, the three of them stood frozen. The house felt smaller now, the tension so thick it pressed against every wall. Cardi took a few deep breaths, trying to steady herself. I need to know what she thinks she knows, Cardi said finally. I need to understand what I'm walking into. Offset shook his head. This could be a trap. She might want attention. She might want money. She might want to stir things up. And maybe she wants something else, Cardi said. Answers. Clarity. Something real. I won't know unless I ask. The phone buzzed again before Offset could respond. This time, the message was longer. I don't want to fight with you. I'm not trying to ruin your family. I just want closure. I need to know the truth, and I think you do too. Marlene's mouth dropped open. Closure? Oh, she's doing the whole dramatic script thing. She's wild. But Cardi wasn't thinking about Marlene's commentary. She was reading and rereading the messages, searching for hidden meanings, trying to understand the tone, the motive, the intention. I'm gonna call her, Cardi said suddenly. Both Marlene and Offset shouted, what? I need to call her, Cardi repeated, her voice steady now. I need to hear her voice. I need to understand what she wants. Cardi, that's not safe, Offset said quickly. She might record the call. She might twist your words. She might try to bait you into saying something. Then I won't say anything stupid, Cardi said. I'll just listen. Offset shook his head. Please. Don't do this without a lawyer. Or your manager. Or at least someone to mediate. Cardi stared at him, her eyes narrowing. You're scared. Of course I'm scared, Offset said. Because this whole situation is out of control. But calling her right now might make it worse. Cardi thought about it. She knew he wasn't wrong. She knew calling could be risky. But she also knew she couldn't sit here waiting for more cryptic messages, for more stress, for more spiraling. I'm doing it, Cardi said quietly. Offset exhaled sharply but didn't fight her. Marlene stepped closer, putting a hand on Cardi's shoulder. We're right here if you need us. Cardi nodded once, took a deep breath, and pressed call. The phone rang. Once. Twice. 3 times. Then the woman answered. Her voice was soft but steady. Hello, Cardi. Hearing her say her name felt like a punch to the gut. Who are you? Cardi asked, her tone cold but controlled. Someone who's been trying to avoid drama for a long time, the woman replied. But things have gotten too big. Too loud. Too messy. And I can't stay silent anymore. What do you want? Cardi demanded. I want the truth, the woman said. That's all. I want to know if my son is connected to your husband. Offset flinched hard at the word husband. Offset says he never met you before that event, Cardi said. And that might be true, the woman replied. I never said I met him before. I said I needed to talk to him about something important. Which is? Cardi pushed. There was a long pause. My son looks exactly like him. The room tilted slightly, at least that's how Cardi felt. Like the ground moved under her feet. So you're basing all this on looks? Cardi asked, forcing her voice to remain steady. Not just looks, the woman said. Timing, circumstances, things I've been told, things people around me have said. And I'm tired of living in confusion. Offset stepped closer, trying to hear the woman's tone. Cardi put her phone on speaker. The woman continued, I'm not trying to make headlines. I'm not trying to break up your family. But the more I look at my son, the more I see him. And I need answers. So you think Offset is the father? Marlene blurted out before Cardi could stop her. The woman sighed. I don't know. I'm not saying he is. I'm saying I need to know. Offset finally spoke. I didn't father any child with you. I promise that. I've never been with you. The woman stayed silent for a moment. I hear you. But I need proof. Not words. Cardi rubbed her temples. So what do you want to happen next? A paternity test, the woman said simply. That's all. Cardi closed her eyes, exhaling slowly. And if the test proves he's not the father? Then I'll disappear, the woman said. No drama. No interviews. No posts. Nothing. Marlene whispered, and if he is the father? The woman hesitated. Then we all deal with the truth. The silence that followed felt endless. Finally, Cardi said, I need time. I understand, the woman said. But we can't avoid this forever. When the call ended, Cardi lowered the phone slowly, her hand shaking. Offset reached for her again. Cardi, look at me. She looked up, eyes filled with fear, anger, confusion, heartbreak, all tangled together. Tell me the truth, she whispered. Do you think there's even the smallest chance, the tiniest possibility, that she might be right? Offset opened his mouth. But before he could answer, Cardi's phone buzzed again. This time, it was a notification. A blog had posted a blurry side-by-side photo of the little boy and Offset. And the caption read, Fans think the resemblance is undeniable. Cardi felt the room spin. Because in that blurry side-by-side, the kid really did look like him. The house was silent, almost painfully silent, as Cardi stared at the blurry comparison photo on her screen. The whole world outside was already spiraling, fans were shocked, emotions were running high across every social platform, and the family was left completely divided in this explosive situation. Cardi felt like she was floating outside her own body, watching everything crumble in slow motion. How did one livestream comment turn into all of this? How did one sentence throw her entire life into chaos? Offset hovered near her, not daring to touch her but not stepping away either. He looked terrified, guilty, confused, desperate to fix things but unsure where to even begin. They were both stuck in the moment, trapped between the truth they knew and the doubts that were suddenly everywhere around them. And the image on her phone, it didn't help. Not even a little bit. Cardi lowered the screen, breathing shakily. "We're gonna deal with this," she whispered, though it sounded like she was trying to convince herself more than anyone else. "We're gonna get answers. Real answers. I'm not letting the internet tell me what my reality is." Offset nodded, but his eyes said he knew this was only the beginning. Tests, conversations, explanations, public fallout, it was all coming. And neither of them knew how the world would react once the truth finally came out. And that's where this chapter of our wild, imagined story leaves off, right in the middle of chaos, with questions still hanging in the air and no clear resolution in sight. But you already know the drama is far from over. Now, if you've been hooked from the beginning, make sure you show some love. Hit that like button, subscribe for more insane fictional drama breakdowns, and drop a comment telling us what you think is really going on. Do you believe the woman? Do you think Offset is hiding something? Or do you think it's all one big misunderstanding? Your opinion matters, and we want to hear it. Stay tuned, because the next twist is always just one message away.